You're listening to the Public Health Entrepreneurs Podcast with your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley. Welcome to Public Health Entrepreneurs, the podcast for visionary leaders who are ready to transform public health and healthcare through innovation. I'm your host, Dr. Charlotte Huntley, and as a public health entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience in both healthcare and public health, I understand the unique challenges and opportunities that come with bridging multiple disciplines and building businesses that create healthier communities. I'd like to take a moment to remind you of my coaching framework. And I say remind you because in a previous episode, earlier in the podcast, I did talk about my coaching framework, but it's been a while and I'd like to revisit that, and it's very timely. So to put into context, really every episode that I share on this podcast, I'm thinking through that framework. I'm sharing with you from experience of leading masterminds, how I've coached my one-on-one clients, what I've gone through, what I practice in my own consulting business. And this coaching framework is really designed to help you. First of all, you have to have a goal in your business. So if you don't have that goal, we'll touch on that in a second, but let's just assume you have a goal that you want to accomplish in your business, a revenue goal. And there are things that we need to do that we focus on and work on in our business to help us reach that goal. And in my framework, I've narrowed this down to 4 areas. Marketing and lead generation is one of those areas. This is how your business is represented. Who are you going after in the market? How are you talking about your business? How are you advertising your services? Remember, as consultants, we're problem solvers, and really as entrepreneurs, we are all solving some sort of problem that our ideal clients or our audience has. So how are you sharing about your solution that you provided to this problem that your clients, your potential clients have? And that lead generation piece is how are you attracting your ideal clients out of the audience of people? So, for example, a podcast or a newsletter has a broad audience. If you are a content creator in the form of videos, maybe you have a YouTube channel, you're looking at a broad audience. So your marketing and lead generation is how are you attracting your ideal clients out of the broad audience. If we use LinkedIn, because I use LinkedIn a lot on this podcast. And for consultants, you're not looking for a large number of people. You're really looking for a much smaller number because your consulting services are usually higher priced as opposed to maybe what someone would offer at a lower price point. You're looking for a larger number of people. At a higher price point, you're looking for a smaller number of people. Okay, so that lead generation, if you're on LinkedIn, how are you standing out? How are you letting people know that you have a solution that they're looking for? The people that are wandering around on that platform are not necessarily waving a flag saying, I have this problem. But how are you letting them know that you have a solution to what you realize they already have? So marketing and lead generation is a category that you would need to focus on in order to reach your goal. Let's just say, for the sake of this example, I like to use this, and it's an easy example to use, and it's also a goal that a lot of people have when they're initial phases of business, is reaching 6 figures. So if your revenue goal is $100,000, then your marketing and lead generation is a very important part of that. How are you attracting, finding the right clients who will pay you for the solution you have, your services, products, to then generate that money, the revenue in your business? So you can't just stay focused on marketing and lead generation alone. That is one part of it. But another part of my framework is offers and sales. It's why I talk so much about LinkedIn on this platform for the marketing and lead generation piece, and also why I talk so much about the sales conversation. And offer and sales is another category that is extremely important when you are looking to reach your goal, that $100,000 revenue goal that we're using for the sake of this example. So what is your offer? And that's a loaded question because I don't expect you to just blurt out. There's no right or wrong here. Like I said, if you have a lower price point offer, say a smaller price point service, that's say you price it at $100, then you can do the math and decide how many clients you're going to need to pay you for that offer at $100. And then that also drives what you need to do with marketing and lead generation. Versus if your offer is $10,000, how many clients you're going to need to get to that $100,000 mark. And also, I'll even put in there, what if your offer is $100? Then you need one client. It may take you a little bit longer to find them, or it may not. So when you reach the sales cycle, maybe a little bit faster with the lower price point, and it may take a little bit longer with the higher price point offer. But the offer being clear, an offer is going to be a clear solution to what the problem is, and it's going to have a price point. And this is where your clients are motivated to solve that problem. They will pay the price if they believe that your solution will solve their problem. And then the sales, offers and sales. You can have a beautiful offer, but if it's not converting, if you're not getting sales, then that's an issue. But this is definitely an area to focus on in your business. Sales, meaning the sales conversation. Sometimes the challenge or the hiccup is within you. Maybe it's what you believe about sales or how you feel about the whole sales process. But offers and sales is a very important part of your business and how you are being able to reach that goal, that $100,000 goal that we're talking about in this example. So another area of this framework that I coach from is systems and productivity. And on this podcast, I talk quite a bit about systems and productivity. This is including how you're operating your business, everything from how you're connecting with those people that when you do the marketing and lead generation and someone's interested in speaking with you about your offer and to get to the sales conversation, you've got to have a way of meeting with them. So how are you even scheduling the meeting? Are you going back and forth in messages or this is my availability, what's your availability? Or are you using automation? So how you're doing business, being really efficient is extremely important because if you need, if you've got a lower price point, you really don't have time for a lot of back and forth with each one. If it's a $100 sale, you need to really be productive. And that's the case. You want to be as productive as possible with all of this. But at the higher price point, your automation and your systems are going to look very different because of the way you're processing, you're dealing with and engaging with your clients at that level. And it's not just the onboarding of clients, but how you're doing the work and delivering the work. If it's a project where you're working with clients and you're going back and forth and there's multiple deliverables, what system are you using to communicate that, to organize tasks? If you have a team, how are you getting things done? Whatever your marketing strategies are, if you have a strong presence with social media, how are you getting work done? How are you delivering work? How are you even getting paid? Your invoicing system, the services that you use to help you keep track of revenue, the money that's coming in, the expenses that you have going out. All of these things fall under the category of systems and productivity. And they are all overlapping parts in this framework. I have a visual, but they're all overlapping because you have to constantly work on each of these areas and they overlap. So if you are you're doing well in the marketing and lead generation and you're getting, you're bringing on a lot of meetings and you're talking about your offer and you're pitching to a lot of people and you're generating some revenue. If those things are working really, really well, then you can break whatever systems you have in place as you're growing, and you need to be able to quickly pivot and adjust to that growth so that your systems and productivity can remain high and efficient enough to handle the success that you're having in marketing and lead generation. And conversely, if you're overly focused on systems and productivity, but you have nothing in the pipeline, you have no meetings, nobody to even talk to about your offer and sales, and that becomes a problem. So it's a constant overlap because you're managing all of these areas. It's not hard to do, but it's a matter of learning how to focus on these areas. And it's extremely important. This is from what I've incorporated in what I do year after year after year in my own business and what I share with my clients that I work with, whether they're my mastermind program or one-on-one. And there's one more area I want to mention here that's a part of my framework. And in my design, it's in the background. It overlaps all of these areas, and that's mindset. Mindset is another important area for your goal success because right away, when I say a goal of $100,000, that right away could give you a reaction, and that's important to pay attention to. If you're just getting started and you are at, maybe you've just made your first $10,000 or $12,000 in your business, it may feel impossible to think about $100,000. Even though it's what you want, you may feel like, I will never get there. Those are mindset issues. Those are blocks. How you push past that, how you see yourself as a six-figure business earner, revenue generator is everything. So not just that type of mindset, but also when it comes down to offers and sales. I see this come up a lot because people have all sorts of feelings around sales. Oh, I'm not good at sales. If you're a business owner, that's something you really need to address because your business is not going to thrive if you, the owner, you're the one responsible for business development and sales. If you're not good or don't like sales, it's not the thing that you outsource successfully right away to someone else. It's something that you have to perfect as the owner. And you're always in the business of having a sales conversation as a business owner. So mindset is important, and it's important to recognize, I guess another thing people are familiar with and we talk a lot about is imposter syndrome. There's a lot of that rises, especially with entrepreneurs in this space. It's not that we fix it and it goes away. It's just that we have to recognize and we have to be ready to pivot and address it quickly. And we get better at doing that. It never goes away. We just get better at addressing it. And the longer you're in business, the more you grow, the more challenging and these issues can come up. These mindset issues can pop up. So these are all important areas of my coaching framework. And if you hadn't figured it out yet, this is why every episode of this podcast, up until this point, and it will always be focused on one of these areas because these are the important areas to focus on as you navigate business. So I would like to mention here that, I've been talking about these programs. I've been talking so much about strategic planning and clearly setting your goals. And I talked about the live workshop that I had because everything starts with a clear goal. And you may have done strategic planning for your clients or in your job in the past, so you know how important it is, but you need to do it for your business. So I held that workshop recently as a live workshop, and we're actually almost complete with the editing. By the time you hear this episode, it may be available on demand, but if not, it's coming very soon. But these upcoming programs, starting with the strategic planning, after that, I'm going to have a program for each of these areas that I've just described to you that's a part of my coaching framework, which will allow you to go in depth in your own time. So it'll be on demand. You can go at your own pace, but it gives you a deep dive into each of these areas to help you where you need the help the most in terms of, your business and being able to reach your goals. So details will be found on our website, publichealthentrepreneurs.com. Meanwhile, make sure that you're subscribed to our Public Health Entrepreneurs newsletter, which will allow you to not only receive updates whenever we release a new episode, but you'll also receive updates as soon as these new programs are available before they hit the website. So I'm excited to support you in this way, to continue to support you on this podcast. And I look forward to hearing more feedback from you on how these trainings and programs will be helping you as you go through. All right, everyone. Until next time, have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for listening. Visit publichealthentrepreneurs.com to learn more.